If you guys need any cards, packs, sleeves, anything of that nature, shop on TCG Player using my affiliate link in the description. What's good, YouTube? I have been doing everything in my power to get this top 8 video out ASAP, because I know, of course, everyone has been waiting with bated anticipation. I've seen a lot of comments and questions about where the top 8 lists are, so I'm bringing it to you here today, starting off here with Matt K's first place Value Turbo list. Now, these value lists all look pretty standard. I think it's been mentioned, like, they all pretty much play the same 35 cards, but let's just go over it really quick. 2 Arma, 2 Greffer with 3 Sirocco, 3 Value seems to be the standard. Every one of them plays Gale, of course, along with the Plague, Dad, double Caius. Then we got triple Raikou. Pretty much everyone on the Spirit Reaper technology. I think a True Hero was also on Spirit Reaper in Diva Hero. I'm kind of wondering if this might just become more of like a generic sort of good card staple that gets thrown into a lot more other stuff. Also on 2 Hamster with no Charge of Light Brigade. Now, Hamster's a good card, but I think Charge of Light Brigade is a much better card, so I'm kind of confused as to why they're not playing it. Other than that, the spell lineup completely standard. The trap lineup pretty standard. Actually, a double oppression main with 1 Dust Tornado. I think the other list played, it was like the reverse with 2 Dust Tornado, 1 oppression. I'm not really sure. I guess it's kind of just a meta call if you think oppression's good, if you think oppression's bad. I think the card is definitely underrated against like Blackwing and Hero Beat, but it's also not that great versus them either. So I'm not really sure. It's like same deal versus Frogs. Maybe if I were playing it, I would maybe main 1, but it's kind of up to you. Side deck, 2 Fossil Dino, 1 Kaiku, double Thunder King. Got a lot of Frog hate. Multiple compulsory evacuation device. I think this is going to come up a lot. This card was in a lot of side decks. 1 deck dev, only 1 is kind of interesting. I feel like you should be playing 2 in value. This is probably the best deck dev deck, like by far, right? Double Dust, triple Rug. It's a lot of I mean, this card is just really good in the current metagame. I think it's very good versus like Diva Hero Beat. It's very good versus Frogs and maybe like some Machina stuff. I don't know. It's got like a number of decent applications. If anyone's out there playing gadgets, I guess Rug's pretty good there too. Double Road as well. This is interesting. 2 Road seems like a lot of Road to me. I'm not really sure why he's on 2 Road. I would generally think 1 would be the standard, but and it also conflicts with oppression too. But I don't know. Maybe there's a reason. No Fortress Dragon and no Cyber Dragon is also an interesting decision. The extra deck, I guess maybe it just feels like it's too full and you need all the value synchros. Especially you're playing 2 Roads. You need 2 Stardust as well. I didn't even think about that. Wow. So yeah, the side is a little bit weird because there's no Crow and no Sidra, which are kind of like universal side deck staples, and they're not any of those. So some pretty interesting choices in Matt K's first place list. Coming in at second place, we have, of course, a True Heroes Diva Hero list. A True Hero absolute legend. You got to subscribe to him on YouTube if you haven't already. Great content. Diva Hero specialist. He has taken this deck to many a top cut, and Nationals was apparently no different as he finished second with this build that I think is pretty similar to his standard. Not exactly sure. I don't remember if he was on this Treeborn Frog before. I know the Spirit Reaper is definitely new, but a lot of it looks pretty standard. The Dad, the Hero package, the Gores, Triple Caius. He's always on that Greffer Plague Spreader. Of course, the 3 Divas, the Spine Gilman, I think the Sangan. I mean, Sangan is just really good for searching Diva, I think, and that's generally why you play it. Because if you have Vimali in the grave, and you search that Diva, then you've got a big play next turn. Like I said, Treeborn Frog, Spirit Reaper rounding up the monster lineup. He's got, I mean, again, the spells, Future Fusion Miracle, that's in every build. Just Rhoda, no E-Call with any other hero. I kind of like the Rhoda just for Greffer Stratos. I think that's pretty good. Brain Mind, having Diva means you can play Mind Control, which is, of course, very sick. Heavy, Typhoon, more staples, got the Allure, and then also double Gold Sark, which is an interesting choice that a True Hero likes to play. You can get like Dad, Heavy, maybe a Miracle Fusion. So there's some decent things you can get. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it in a deck like this, but he likes to play this very aggressive game plan where he just like wants to win in a couple turns, and Gold Star kind of helps with that, where it's just like, I'm going to grab a card that's going to win me the game. So I can kind of see it. And then also, bottomless, in the trap lineup, we've got Deck Dev and Mind Crush, which True Hero likes to play. I'm really not a fan of these in the current meta, honestly. I used to be a bigger fan of Mind Crush, but it feels like all the decks right now are like, I don't know, against like Blackwings and Hero Beat, I think you really need cards that interact with the field more rather than doing this hand rippy kind of stuff. But it worked out well for him. So I don't know. I guess the deck dev main deck can definitely catch people off guard, which is pretty cool. Then standard traps. He also plays Return again. True Hero is just trying to win the game ASAP, and Return definitely can be one of those cards where it's just like, well, guess I win. So yeah, side deck, a lot of standard stuff. One Crow, one Snowman. A lot of weird one-offs here actually with the Consecrated Cyber Dragon, of course, the Vanity's Fiend, the Fossil Dyna for frogs. He's got Smashing, Knock, Soul Release, and then weirdly, there's like one Decree and one Mask of Restrict. And I've seen this multiple times in these top cut lists where they're just playing one-off Floodgates in the side, so I'm not entirely sure what that's about. I think generally, like, if you think a Floodgate's good enough to play, you should just play two, probably. I don't know, it's not always the case, though. The Decree is especially odd, because do you, like, side out a bunch of traps, but then it's just one Decree. Maybe it's one Decree because he feels like he plays too many traps to, like, reasonably side into two Decree. I could kind of see that, actually. In third place here, we have straight out of Compton's Amaryllis list. Don't need to talk a whole lot about it because I did a whole ass interview with this guy where we went over just everything going on. He opted to side out the Volcanic counter package and just bring it in for certain troublesome matchups against like Dragons, Lightsworn, I think Frogs. He said he also brought it in. I don't remember if he brought it against Blackwings, but I think it's pretty good against that matchup as well. And then he decided to just try to shove in some more plants, so he went with Botanical Line and Lord Poison. Also switched up the Lightsworn lineup, going on double Lila, double Raikou. Basically, Lila is kind of better going first, I guess, especially if you have it backed it up with Wing Blast, because it gets you that mill tempo going faster. At least that was the logic that he cited, where it's like you can get an Amaryllis engrave right then and there, and then have it set up turn one a little bit more consistently, anyway. And let's see. Besides that, the monster lineup's pretty much the same. The spell lineup also pretty much the same, minus Barrow from the different dimension, which you can't really play without Volcanic counter. And then we're on 41 cards with the trap lineup being, I think, identical to mine, but also on Call of the Haunted plus Mirror Force. Again, just some minor changes because, of course, not on the Volcanic counter package anymore. Focused a bit more on having a couple more staples and just summoning Titanium a lot. Like I said, we talked to death about this deck in like the other videos, so maybe just like go watch that. I don't want to go too redundant on discussing everything. Also on these one-off Floodgates, I think this is the other deck that I saw that was on the one Skill Drain, one Decree. So that was a little bit interesting. This whole sideboard plan is definitely actually pretty weird. He's got like Fiend Comedian in here, which I think is still pretty hella based. I don't play it anymore, but I definitely respect it. I think it's pretty cool. It's not like as memey and bad as people might think. The card actually can just be crazy in a lot of situations. So yeah, that was the third place list. In fourth place, we have Fraser Smith's Hero Frogs. Fraser Smith, another Edison Yugi tuber. I think he's on like the same team as a True Hero, so they really had a great performance. Definitely go subscribe to him as well. His channel is the I'm Nerd podcast on YouTube. He likes to play Frog Hero, has been doing it a lot recently, and it seems like he did very well at Nationals. This was his build. I'm trying to see it. Okay, so he's on just 10 Frogs in the main with Uni in the side. He's on triple Fader. It's a lot of Fader. No T-Roar in the main, though, so I can kind of see why he's on triple Fader. Only one Junk Synchron. I think everyone's either on one or two of this. It's definitely, like, very strong. Triple Caius with one Ryza. Another card that everyone's either on one or two of. I guess Fraser's opting for kind of minimal side threats. It seems more just like streamlined focus on the main game plan. He's got 5 heroes in here, I think. I think this is just the standard 5, right? One Malicious, one Prodigy, one Ocean for the water, and then, oh, you know what, Alias might not be completely standard. Maybe it's like only 4 is standard, and the Alias is just an extra beater. He's on road to E-Call, Triple Miracle, 1 for 1. I mean, all staples of the Frog Hero deck. For like the extra like utility spells, he's on 2 Econ, 1 Soul in the main. Interesting ratios. And staples, triple Raigeki Rake and Dust Shoot as the traps. Dust Shoot in the main is a little bit unusual for Frogs, especially we're not in a very good Dust Shoot meta at all. I guess Frogs did really well at the Edison Nationals, but it seems like in the current metagame landscape, more decks than ever are just like setting their hand, or decks where like Hero Beat or Dust Shoot isn't even that great, even if they don't set their hand. So I'd like to hear the reasoning behind why he was on the Dust Shoot main in a deck that doesn't typically play Dust Shoot at all. Sideboard, Vanity's Fiend, Crows, Snowman, Super Poly. I think he was on the Gemini guy and the extra. A lot of people doing this Super Poly Gemini guy tech in like the hero decks. I guess it is just a blowout in that matchup, so that's pretty cool. On the second Soul X on the side, 2 Dust Tornado, got out those Floodgates. Torrential Mirror, I really like Frog siding these two, because no one ever expects them. Some people maybe expect Mirror, but that one, Torrential, no one ever expects, and it's a lot harder to play around. And then also 1 Compulsory, I guess just another out to, like, Floodgate monsters, rather than playing, he's playing this over, like, Book of Moon, I guess, or I think Book of Moon would be the main other one that the Frog players typically play. So he's chosen to play Compulsory. Compulsory is seeing a lot more play in the current metagame. I think people are really waking up to the fact that this card is actually pretty solid. It blanks Brain Control, it outs Synchros just cleanly for free, so it's pretty cool. And I think the extra, pretty standard on all of the heroes, including the one Gaia, Armory Arm, Catastor, Junk, all the level 5s, of course, for Junk Synchron. The good 6s, the good 7, 2 8s, and also Mistworm. I don't think he was on this in his previous version. I think it's good, though. Mistworm definitely is a card that comes up often enough where I think you should really play it if you have any extra deck space whatsoever. So, yeah, that was Fraser's list. Okay, now we're going to be getting into the remainder of the top 8 lists, not going in any particular order anymore, because I don't actually know the finish order. They're all just, like, tied for something, or I don't know how it works with Swiss format. But, yeah, this is Dan Vrabel's Value Turbo list, and Value Turbo lists kind of all look alike these days, but let's go over it really quick. Triple Sirocco, triple Value, double Arma, double Greffer, pretty much the consensus ratios at this point. Every deck, of course, playing the Dad, the Plague, the Gale, double Caius, the triple Raikou, and the Card Trooper. We've got the Spirit Reaper technology in here. Also, double Hamster. I think some people only play one. Him opting to play 2 Hamster with no Charge of the Light Brigade. I really think you should play Charge of the Light Brigade. I mean, it's one of the best mill cards in the entire format. It's just so free. I'm not sure why he's not playing it. Also, double Hamster without Book of Moon seems a little odd. Like, not any Book of Moon anywhere in the entire list. Maybe that's a little weird. And then, like, all the staple spells that Value Turbo always plays. The Rhoda, the Allure, and then, you know, the good stuff, the Burial. All the staple traps, full-on triple Bottomless, triple Deep Prison, also in multiple Dust Tornado main with 1 Oppression main, and the other Oppression sided, and the remaining Dust Tornado sided as well. The side, no DD Crows in the side, and also no Cyber Dragon in the side, so there's no Fortress or anything going on in here. They're just on a full extra deck of other stuff. Maybe they felt like space was kind of cramped or something. I feel like you could take out RDA or something and just play a Fortress Dragon, though. So they're on Thunder Kings, Fossil Dynas, pretty standard side deck stun monster type things. 3 pulling the rug, double deck dev. Man, this is some frog hatred going on here. Double road as well. That's like a lot of road. That's a lot of road. I think usually 1 is like fine. And it's like the only floodgate you really have protecting is Royal Oppression, and you can't even use it if Oppression's on the field. I don't know about that. Also on multiple compulsory evacuation device. Once again seeing this card popping up, at least in side decks. So, yeah, that was neat. And then, as I mentioned, the extra deck is completely full. There's no Fortress Dragon. Playing all the level 8s. I feel like you could just play Stardust Colossal Darken. That's probably what most Value people do anyway. But, yep, cool list. Congratulations to your top 8 performance. I mentioned before how Frogs had quite a couple of days at Nationals, so we have arrived here at the second Frog list to top. Once again, it is Hero Frog. Seems to be the dominant variant, at least in terms of what performed at the NAWCQ. Once again, on the same standard 10 Frog lineup in the main, well, Sub's not really a Frog, and then Uni in the side, also playing the same 5 as Fraser was, so maybe this Neos Alias is a little more standard, I think. It just gives you like another thing to run over Dyna's main 2, I guess. Triple Caius, he's on double Ryza with 1 Junk, still 1 Junk. Gores, of course, 2 Fader and 2 T-Roar rather than triple Fader like Fraser was on. 1-for-1 Rhoda Ecall, triple Miracle, Brain, of course. Also on double Econ, 1 Soul, maybe... Is this like an agreed upon ratio or something among Frog players? I don't really understand it. I don't know anything about Frogs. Trap lineup, a bit different. No Dust Shoot. Only 1 Raigeki Break main. 1 Mirror Force. And, as I mentioned before, 2 Threatening Roars. The side deck looks pretty... Well, it's not completely similar, actually. Triple Vanities. Of course, they all play this for the Mirror match. Got double Cyber Dragon, some Crows, the Uni for before. Again, also on the Super Poly stuff, which seems to be making it into... a few of these side decks. A lot of these decks that topped, by the way, were in fact hero decks of some form or another. I think 5 of them actually were. And it's interesting to see multiple of them playing this Raptinus thing. I guess people were really expecting to run into Gemini, which I think Gemini did reasonably well. It didn't top 8, but there were some number of Gemini in like top 16, top 32 at this event. So that might be something to watch out for as well. He's got the other 2 Solex in the side, also Soul Release, so some more hate for the mirror, and Double Dust Tornado, of course, to out Floodgates. Once again, no Book of Moon, also no Compulsory, so a little bit light maybe on outs to like stuff like Fossil Dynad, Vanity's Fiend compared to what Fraser's list had sideboarded. The extra's a little different. I think he's on Fortress Dragon instead of Mistworm. Is that the only difference? Was Fraser not playing Fortress Dragon? I don't remember, but yeah, I mean, it's like pretty standard. Got a bunch of synchros, just like the good ones and stuff. Got the fusions. So this was Patterson's Hero Frog list. Looks pretty tight. I like it. Another Hero Frog list. Another one. There are 3 of these in top 8. This deck really popped off at Nationals, as we can see. This time we've got Jordan Blankenship's version of the list. He's on 11 Frogs in the main, playing the Uni. I think the Uni is pretty solid in the current metagame landscape. A lot of set-heavy decks right now. I would definitely advise main decking it if you have the space. Also, he made some interesting choices. This deck looks a lot like kind of a more old-school version of Hero Frogs. Got like a ton of discard traps with the Mally, sort of hoping to have that 1-for-1 Mally kind of turn 1, or 1-for-1 Stratos, turn 1 crazy pop-off. Also on the Malicious Edge, though, as well, which is sort of more new post-Guari top technology. Also on triple Ryza with 2 junks, so just like a lot of these extra normal summon threats piled into this deck. Very monster-heavy lineup. Not on any Econ or any Solex in the main deck. Not on any Battle Fader or T-Roar either. So this is probably the most different sort of looking one out of the bunch. Side deck, we've got triple Vanity's Fiend, double Fader, double Snowman. A lot of people on this Snowman. I think Snowman is a pretty sick side deck card right now. Very strong versus Hero Beat and stuff. I think he mentioned that the Fader sort of took the place of DD Crow because he felt like in those sort of zombie type, mid-game or mid-range sort of matchups, he would rather just have the Fader to stay alive. So I can kind of see that. Soul Exchange at 3 in the side, triple Book of Moon, and double Raigeki Break. So really prioritizing having those generic outs to Floodgates in the post board. Extra deck, he's not on the Raptinus Super Poly technology that the other versions were. He's on double Catastor, so playing like, what is this, 4 level 5s? Is this more? I don't remember if I don't think the other lists were playing Gishel Note or anything, so this is like 1 more level 5. And then playing the good 6s, playing Black Rose. The only level 8 is Stardust, and then Mistworm. So you could probably like shave down one of these Catastors and play Colossal Fighter. I think he said he never made the second Catastor anyway. So that's probably what I would advise, but still pretty sweet list. Definitely a bit different from the other Frog Hero lists that we saw top, but man, Frog Hero had quite the event, and congratulations to Jordan Blankenship. Finally, we have Taylor Jelka's Diva Hero Beat list. Now, there's some interesting technology going on in here. First thing is probably noteworthy is they're on 3 e-call instead of 2. Actually, that's like the least noteworthy thing. I don't know why it jumps out on me. I guess just everyone is on 2 e-call, 1 Rhoda now. But also cool, of course, is the inclusion of Bubble Man instead of Double Ocean, which a lot of builds have been doing, or having like Snowman Eaters. They're on 1 Ocean and 1 Bubble Man with Plague Spreader. I think this is super cool. I think the triple e-call is probably because of the Bubble Man, actually, because if you're in like a top decking situation, it just gives you more draws that turn into like that crazy +2. So that could potentially help explain why that is that way. There's also double Sark, of course, very good. A lot of these choices actually seem to revolve around the fact that Bubble Man's in the deck, because Sark just lets you sort of go neg1 for a short period, and then you get a card later. Sark is actually, it's pretty interesting in general. Lets you get like Miracle or Heavy or Brain, I guess. Like, it just, there's so many like good power staples you can get with Sark, so it's interesting to see some decks just like throwing it in. I mean, this thing doesn't even have any like dad or crazy blowouts. I think it might largely just because of the Bubble Man, but there's just always some crazy limited card you can search with Gold Sark in Edison format. So it's only really limited by like how aggro the format is and whatnot, and whether your deck can keep up with that. So the back row lineup, I mean, it's pretty standard. They got the triple spark, the double hero blast, all of the bottomless deep prison, all of the one-off staples, including torrential, including Call of the Haunted, and a main deck Starlight Road, putting the deck to 41. Side deck actually looks pretty standard. Again, we're seeing no DD Crow on the side. A lot of people opting to go with no DD Crow. I guess the meta might be a little zombie light right now, and then like quick draw plants, of course, not a huge factor. Double knock, double soul release. They're not on Fossil Dyna on the side, which is actually pretty interesting. They are on the Super Polys, but no Raptinus this time. 2 Limb, 2 Shadow Imprisoning, and just opting for Mask of Restrict, I guess, to deal with the Frog matchup, which makes sense. Card's probably even more of a blowout than Fossil Dyna, honestly, in that matchup. Well, it's hard to really say. It like turns off Econ in Soul X even, which is pretty crazy. So that was the final list. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you appreciated me going over the top 8. Be sure to let me know what you thought in the comments section, and I'll see you next time. Peace out. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Furthermore, if you enjoy my content, you should think about becoming a channel member. You get access to tons of bonus content, and it's a great way to help support the channel.